Oh, are we live? Yes, we are live. Yes, guys, hello and welcome back to the Spurs-related YouTube channel and podcast. I hope everyone is doing very well on this Friday evening. Today, we have a update on the Tottenham Champions League squad that was announced this morning. We have an update on the Romero drama between him and the board. That never seems to end. There always seems to be different chapters that are going on with that. And of course, we are previewing the Tottenham-Manchester United game tomorrow, lunchtime actually, at Old Trafford, which should be a tough game. Guys, if you are new around here, please do make sure you're smashing the subscribe button, hitting the like button as well, helps us out massively, and turning on those notification bells is greatly appreciated so you never miss a video. But as you can see, we're back. We have been inactive for a couple of days. We had to have a couple of days break after that mad busy transfer window, wasn't it? It was so mad. There were so many transfers going on. But as you can see, back joined alongside Frank Thomas, a.k.a. Thomas Frank's AI son. Frank, I bet you didn't think I'd still be calling you that on 6th of February, did you?
Not at all. Not at all. I thought that would end. I thought that would have ended by at least New Year at the very latest. But no, I think I'm just about rested after deadline day, which was busy for everyone else but Tottenham. And so, yeah, obviously we were on here for a while. So I'm rested. I'm ready to talk about Romero, which has been something that's kind of consumed the last couple of days for Tottenham. And then hopefully talk about a positive day tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Let's get into things in just a minute. But as you can see, we're joined back alongside Whiteheart Henry on TikTok. Henry, congrats on 2,000 followers over there. You're absolutely steamrolling to that 10K mark, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good, mate. I mean, how can anyone not be excited about Spurs transfer window when we bring in James Wilson? What a signing that is. But yeah, not too bad, mate.
Good stuff. And I hope everyone else watching is also doing well. Let us know your thoughts on the Romero situation, on the Man United game tomorrow, and of course, this Champions League squad, which I believe we will probably start with. So we're going to do exactly that. In fact, we're going to bring you a bit of transfer news to sort of summarize the transfer window. That Bahia, is that how you say it? Bahia? I don't know. It's a Brazilian club. Agreed deal to sign Alejo Véliz from Tottenham on a permanent move. Here we go. As per Fabrizio Romano yesterday, 9 million euros fee plus add-ons. Véliz wanted to stay in Rosario until the end of his loan and then join Bahia. Medicals due to happen in June. Deal verbally agreed with director Cadu Santoro today. Frank, I know you were loving the deadline day transfer news, mate. This is exactly the sort of transfer news we wanted as a football club to really kick on and continue, the upward trajectory up the table from sort of 14th to 13th. What do you think, mate?
I think it's good because, I say, we've got a real problem in selling players at the right time, and they've managed to make, I think, 7.8 million quid out of him. So that's great. That's fantastic. It kind of renders the whole signing pointless. I know you kind of knew that, but I don't mind them taking chances on these guys, but it was obviously just a very misjudged chance. And I guess he'll probably go down for the moment against Bournemouth where he was dying and Højbjerg still gave him the ball. So I think that's probably his the pinnacle of his career here. I think to get 8 million quid out of him is probably quite a nice deal.
What do you think, Henry? 8 million quid or so for Alejo Véliz. Were you a bit disappointed that he's not going to be the superstar? I feel like his Tottenham career kind of ended in 2023 December against Bournemouth at home, where he ran for the ball with a hamstring injury and probably made it 10 times worse. And I remember being there and he just rolling around with pain. Do you think, just cursed at Tottenham, as are most players that seem to get injuries at this football club?
Mate, to be honest, I think I forgot that he was here for the last sort of 12 months. Saw the deal go through and I was like, oh, yeah, woo, 9 million euros that we didn't have. But I don't really see how it's going to affect us anyway because we won't go and spend it. But summed up our window perfectly, in my opinion.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Guys, not the most thrilling news to bring you in the first 2 minutes of the podcast, but I promise it will get more exciting than that. But let us know what you're thinking on the Véliz deal in the chat. Do you think it was a pointless deal to begin with? Do you think, we should have kept him for a bit longer to see what he could produce? But, he was at Rosario Central. He wasn't exactly at Champions League round of 16 level, was he, guys? But Let's talk about the Romero piece next. Or Frank, do you want to go and talk about the Champions League squad next? I'll let you steer it, Frank.
I think we go with the Champions League squad so we get the news out of the way.
Sure.
So if you've got the slide, there you go. There you go. There you go. Right. So that they've got rid today of Davis and Bentancur, who are both out of the squad, and Johnson, obviously, who went as well at the start of January. Tell comes in, which is something we've all kind of pioneered for, so that's good. Gallagher obviously comes in, and Dragusin comes back in as well now that he's fit. No Basuma, which we kind of probably all expected. I know he was playing a little bit recently, but I don't think he was ever going to really play in the Champions League. And the worrying sort of part is that Kulu not being in the squad suggests that he's probably not coming back, as it says from Alistair Gold, anytime soon. And the bit that's kind of concerning me, certainly, is that there's literally no indication of any time frame. Like, they have a real talent, Tottenham, at leaving us in the dark over absolutely everything. And they're doing it again. So hopefully we see Kulu before the end of the season. At this rate, I don't think we will. This is pretty bad news because I think at the start of January, he said it was going to be sort of 3 or 4 weeks before he's back on grass, and we're 4 weeks on, and he's being left out the squad for things that don't kick off for another month. So I don't really know what's going on. I'm not really sure what the plan is here. And as I say, there's zero indication to suggest that it's going to improve, and he's going to come back anytime soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Kulusevski does seem to be, out for a while. The one I wanted to pick up on there is no Basuma. Obviously, I feel like he's not been that bad in the last couple of games when he's played. And Basuma, obviously, he's got his off the field troubles. We all know about that. Henry, are you surprised they've left out Basuma, or you just think because it's such a thin squad to do, to choose from, and the fact that he probably wanted to put in Tell, Dragusin, and another defender to replace Davies, and Gallagher, obviously, kind of like for like in a sense to Bentancur. Do you think that's why there wasn't really the room for Basuma, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think there was the room for him, to be honest. But I also just think, he's had a few good performances for us, but I think that performance against City really proved where Basuma really is at in his footballing career. He's not someone that's going to set the ground alight for Spurs. He's had a few okay performances, but he's not someone who I've personally wanted to see back in a Spurs shirt a lot. And he's filling a hole when he has to, but putting him in the Champions League squad wouldn't really make sense for me with only 3 changes available. Dragusin, obviously, as you said, has to come in because we need another defender. Gallagher is the Bentancur replacement. And if you leave Tell out again, I mean, I think he'd walk.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Spot on. So, I mean, in terms of our actual full squad, we'll get to that in just a minute. I just want to bring up this Thomas Frank quote, which is quite incredible. We've got a few more press conference quotes to come, I think, but he said, as long as everyone does their job, then it is fair enough. I'm pretty sure there are some players who don't think I am the best bloke or whatever it is, but as long as they work hard and do everything they can on the pitch, then I am happy. I tweeted this the other day that I think it was on Billie T's tweet. I think, Frank, you saw it. And I said, like, this is just like a supply teacher that can't control the class. It's like he has no. He's not being a leader by saying, I don't know, some players don't think I'm the best bloke. Like, that's admitting that you've lost some of the dressing room, is it not, Frank?
He's got the real feel of a character out of The Office. It's like really David Brent or really Alan Partridge. It's that sort of like it's bizarre and amazingly, every time I think that whatever the social experiment of a club can't get worse, it manages to get worse, and that's quite. There's a comment there. Sorry about Romero and about how you talk about Romero, and the amazing part to me is that Romero putting out what he put on Instagram the other day was actually probably in defence of Thomas Frank, because he said he was going at the board. He was not going at Frank. He was saying that the fact that he hasn't got the suitable amount of players or whatever is actually a disgrace. And so Romero was actually sticking up for him, amazingly. And so he just manages to keep digging this hole for himself, where he just becomes. It's not even that I almost just feel bad for him at this point. It's bizarre. It's just really odd. and I don't know what he's trying to achieve out of saying this.
Absolutely, yeah. He almost wants to be a one-man band. He almost, doesn't want to pick a side. He wants to be his own side. I think is what you're sort of saying there, Frank, about Thomas Frank. Henry, what do you make of this, mate? What do you make of the situation? Obviously, we'll probably get a bit more into the actual Romero situation in just a bit. Obviously, I've realised that we kind of diverted from the Champions League squad a little bit. That's my fault. But what do you make of this, Henry?
I mean, I've said time and time again, I think Frank's people management and his skill, like his social skills, are just poor. He's not very good at communicating what he really thinks or really what the fans would want to hear. I know it's not always about just saying exactly what the fans would want to hear, but he's so poor at getting what is actually needed as a manager out of a football club. He's got to manage the environment and he doesn't do it very well. But regarding that, it's just Thomas Frank, isn't it? That's pretty standard. He said when he was right under pressure before we got into the top four, he sat there and he said the sun is shining, and it's another day or something when it was training, and turned around and it's completely cloudy.
Yeah,
it's just Thomas Frank written all over.
The press were at the side of the pitch on the training ground, and he was like, they were like, "How are you doing, Thomas? How's things?" He was like, "Of course, I'm happy, but we're playing football, and it's really sunny." It's like, we're not playing football. We're not playing proper football, and it's definitely not sunny. It's the most overcast day of 2026. But well done, mate.
Did you see this quote yesterday? There was one yesterday of a similar sort of ilk. I can't remember what he said. Sorry, it slipped my mind. It will come back to me. But there was one that he said yesterday of that sort of ilk that was just, it was the one about how he was frustrated that people were asking questions about his job and things, and he wanted to talk about football and positivity. It's actually David Brent. It's like the most incredible. If it was a character written by Gervais, you'd appreciate it. Is the way I look at it. Which,
is quite...
which is the same category I'd probably put Donald Trump in. So that's quite an insult.
Christ. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll get into the more fractious side of things with the Romero debacle, if you like, a little bit later. I just wanted to go and talk about the Champions League squad. Again, obviously, just bringing that up for those that are joining, in the sense that no Basuma or Kulusevski, with Tell, Dragusin and Gallagher replacing Davies, Bentancur and Johnson as the changes. This is for the last 16 Champions League squad. I wanted to kind of read out the full squad and just get the viewers' assessment of how much of a chance we have in the last 16, as well as Henry and Frank's thoughts on it as well. Just going to do a couple of comments while I'm doing that. Shipping back to Brentford says, "The nighttime kid, hope you're well, mate." He said, "Look at Lookman, we could have got him." How long have I been saying about Lookman, by the way? And he smashed it on his Atletico debut. Absolutely smashed it. Great goal. I didn't actually see the full-time score. I saw they were 3-0 up at half-time. I saw he scored. Did he score any more or get any more assists? I mean, I know for a fact that he scored in the first half and played really well. It finished 5-0. Who got the other goals?
He got an assist.
There you go. He got a goal and an assist. I mean, yeah, you're spot on. Benito Sotelo is in here as well. Big up, the San Diego fan himself. Says, Frank reminds me of that mask with the crying face underneath, but the mask is smirking. Yeah, it's almost like he's on a wind-up, but he's enjoying it. Yeah, they did win 5-0 away from home at Betis. Is some result in the Copa del Rey there, quarterfinals. I believe that's only the first leg as well. Could be wrong on that. Oh, no, I think it's only one leg. But anyway, they absolutely battered them. Let's look at the Champions League squad then. I don't know if we have the actual visualization of that, but let's talk it through, Frank and Henry. Like, in terms of the last 16 potential opponent against Juventus, Atletico Madrid, funnily enough, Bruges or Galatasaray, do you think we have a strong enough squad to beat any of those teams? Obviously, with the understanding that Tell, Dragusin and Gallagher are in for Davies, Bentancur and Johnson. Let's just compare that for a second. Is Tell an upgrade on Johnson? Is Dragusin an upgrade on Davies? Is Gallagher an upgrade on Bentancur? Just to start things off, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think across the board that's probably an upgrade. I mean, Johnson wasn't playing, so if you're going to play Tell, which whether or not he will is a different argument, but if you're going to play Tell, then that's an upgrade. I know he's Bentan-sexual or whatever he is, but Gallagher is a different level of player. He's got some weird fetish over him, hasn't he? Over Bentancur, not to get too crude. It's not 9 o'clock yet. But he loves Bentancur. So I think Gallagher's an upgrade on that. And I think Dragusin's... I quite like Dragusin, apart from the fact he got completely rinsed by Cherki the other day. I quite like Dragusin, and I think that once he's fit fully, he'll be a good defender for us. I think other than that, I mean, I think the squad is decent to probably go quite far. And I think what we have a decent run in the next round. I will play, I think it's Galatasaray, Club Brugge, Juventus, Atletico Madrid, I want to say.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if you get Club Brugge, brilliant. Galatasaray, I think, are very beatable over 2 legs. Juve are playing quite well, but I think you can probably... Atletico, I think, are the toughest in there. And I would not wish watching Thomas Frank versus Simeone on anyone.
We get battered by Atletico, mate.
I would suspect so. I think the frustrating part for me is I look at the squad and I think it's probably good enough to maybe get to the quarterfinals or dare I say the semis.
Let's review the squad, and I get Henry's thoughts on this as well. Apologies, this isn't the best visual way of looking at it, but Vicario, Dragusin, Danzo, Palinha, Simmons, Richarlison, who I guess we don't fully know when he's going to return, right? Tel, Udoji, Gray, Bergvall, Romero, Solanke, Kudus, Gallagher, Pedro Porro, Jed Spence, Wilson Odobert, Pape Matsar, Kinski, who obviously was heavily linked with a transfer away to West Ham. Didn't happen. I'm happy that didn't happen. Van der Ven, Kolo Moani, and Brandon Austin, who's pretty much not going to get any game time. If you review that squad, right, guys, and this is for the people in the chat as well, what do you rate that out of 10? And I know that's technically not necessarily massively relevant to the talking point here, but like, do you think it's a Champions League quarterfinal squad? Like, I've got to be honest, I have no hope in that squad. I don't want to be negative. I know it feels like I am quite negative a lot of the time on this podcast at the moment, but like, it's just, there's obviously some real great players there, like Romero, like Van der Ven, Xavi Simmons is coming into his own. Obviously, Bergvall can be great on his day, but again, he's injured as well, so I'm not really sure on that one. And Solanke's back injured. Like, there's so many doubts for me as well in terms of the match fitness of, I think the last 16 matches are in March, start of March. We got 4 weeks. Is Solanke going to be back? Is Bergvall going to be back? Is Richarlison going to be back? There's all these questions I have that means it's going to be such a thin squad. I'll hand to Henry now. Out of that, those players, Henry, who do you think shouldn't even be near a Champions League squad? Like, there's quite a few, isn't there?
Oh, mate, there's definitely a few that should not be sniffing anywhere near Champions League knockouts. But the thing is with the squad for me is I think there's a lot of momentum-based players and a lot of players that are really passion-based on their performances. So I know we're going to go into it a bit later, but I think this Saturday could really shape the rest of our season, or at least the next few weeks, as the manager situation could change going forward. But with our February run and then this being the start of March, I think this United game could really kick us on or kick us in the teeth. And if it kicks us on, I think we've got a chance against 3 of them 4 sides that we could face in the quarterfinals. Bruges are a side that, if you go squad for squad, I mean, that's the team we're all hoping for. Everyone hopes to play Bruges because that is realistically the worst side out of the 4. Galatasaray, I think, could be a tough tie. We should be able to get it done at home, but away will be a fixture that we really would struggle with because, I mean, they beat us 3-1 in Europa League last year there, and they've got some good players as well. Juventus should be a walk in the park because Kolo Muani only scores against his old clubs. So he'll probably just bag 2 hat-tricks and walk on. But Atletico Madrid, we'd struggle with. We really would.
Yeah, I completely agree. When you were saying I think Bruges is like the best result, I actually think Bruges away is a bit of a banana skin. I think like it screams of like a Zagreb situation where we should win on paper, but actually like at home Bruges are actually decent. I think they've beaten some pretty decent teams, but you hit the nail on the head. Like Galatasaray away, that is some atmosphere. It's one of the best atmospheres in the whole of Europe, probably in the whole of the world. And going there, little Spurs might get absolutely like little broed by them. If I'm being honest, Frank, I'll get your thoughts in a minute. I'm going to catch up on chat. There's a lot of people talking now. It was a bit quiet earlier, but everyone's come in now. Obviously, our toucan friend here that I didn't know the name of before. 5.5 out of 10 for Ali. Big up yourself, mate. No, Tom Kibb saying people will get gassed where relying on players to come back from injury. That's so bad. I think we need to sell Bergvall. I disagree with you on this point. What role does Frank see Bergvall has? I just don't think Thomas Frank understands how good Bergvall is and where to play him. That's my opinion on it anyway. I think Bergvall is a sensational talent that's got a very, very high ceiling, and he's only, I believe, 20 years of age. So it's like, he's got super, super high potential. And like, clubs like Barcelona don't come sniffing for these players if they're not insane. Stefan Everington, big up yourself, mate. I was actually referencing Matthew Everington in a chat with my mates the other day, and I actually accidentally said Stefan Everington. That's how sort of rent-free you live in my head with your surname. So big up yourself, mate. Rodney Martin saying big up. Coys, big up to yourself. So basically, people are saying it's like a 5 out of 10 in terms of how good the squad is. For me, that's bang average. That's bang average, if not a bit below. Frank, what are you saying in terms of our next potential opponents in the Champions League? As Henry was saying, would you go more towards wanting Club Brugge next?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that Atletico are a side that will probably have a lot of the ball because they will sit as well. I mean, when I look at Atletico, their top scorer this season was Sorloth, right? He's all right. I don't think they have a superb squad. I think they've got a really good coach. I think they're well coached. I don't think they've got a great side. I don't think Juve have got a great side. I think Juve are unbelievably well coached now by Spalletti, who will I think Juve would be the toughest game we'd play, actually. So I think Juve could rip us a new one because they will try and come at Tottenham and they will hurt Tottenham. Whereas I think Atletico were a little more conservative in their ways anyway. And so it will probably peter out and be quite two dull games of football, I would guess. Ultimately, I think Henry hit the nail on the head, though. I think tomorrow's the one. If we lose 2 or 3-0 tomorrow and it's quite a humbling defeat, I think he'll lose his job because they will look at it and they will go, there's 2 home games on the trot after this. You have Newcastle in 3 days' time after, and then you've got a 12-day break before Arsenal. Newcastle at home's a very winnable game. If you give it to an interim, they start well, they win it 2 or 3-0, which is very feasible. Newcastle are quite poor away. Very feasible. You win that 2 or 3-0, there's a buzz in the air. All of a sudden, there's a bit of positivity. And then you play Arsenal at home with that positivity. Your season could actually change a bit. And as we said the other day, Europe's still a possibility. We're only 7 points off. And then you go into any of these games, and I'd actually feel quite confident in any of the 4. And so ultimately, I think tomorrow is going to be quite season defined. Because if he wins tomorrow, if he keeps his job tomorrow and we win tomorrow or whatever, I don't think they're going to sack him anytime soon. And so I think tomorrow is the one.
I agree. I don't agree with you, Frank. I don't think they will sack him, no matter what the result is, unless it's really embarrassing. I think they're going to stick with him. I agree with Nighttime Kid here. I think he won't lose his job because the club loves a yes man. I think that's a nail on the head. If I'm being honest, Frank, I appreciate you. Might be right. You may well be right. He may sack it. He may get sacked after the Man United game. But I think if they were going to sack him, they would have sacked him already. Like, what's losing to Man United making a difference with, drawing at home to Wolves, losing at home to Bournemouth, losing at home to West Ham, like all these results, drawing away at Burnley, like they're not good enough.
I think really the position we're in now, though, is that amazingly, I was listening to, again, I referenced quite often, I was listening to Jack Pitt-Brook talk yesterday, and he basically said that he thinks Romero is the most powerful man at Tottenham right now. And I know we'll sort of talk about it soon, but it's that if you sanction Romero and you punish Romero, people have a go at you. Because the fans love him. He's idolised, he's a good player, and he's speaking out against the board. And so Romero's in this position of strength now that he's going to keep going at the board. Because if he knows he's going in 6 months' time, he's going to keep fighting the board now because he knows that he's going to die a hero at Spurs. So it don't matter for him.
Yeah,
and so ultimately, that pressure is only going to build on the ones above. And if we go and lose 3-0 there tomorrow, which I think is very feasible because I think United are playing quite well and we're in a rough trot, if we do go there and get spanked, I would not be surprised if they pulled the plug on it because otherwise I think that pressure is going to build on the ownership and they'll want to deflect that, I think.
Yeah, interesting. Fair enough. Very quickly, just like literally quick answer, Henry. Do you think he would be sacked if we got battered tomorrow?
I think the top 4 in the Champions League has bought this man some time. I think he'll get the rest of February. If we lose all 3 games, he'll go. If he doesn't lose all 3 games, and honestly, I think a point tomorrow and a point at Arsenal could be enough to keep his job through February, which is ridiculous to me. But it's just the way I think it's going at the moment.
I don't think he's going anywhere, Frank. Honestly, I'm pretty confident. But let's see if you're right, mate. Maybe maybe if you're right, I'll buy you a beer at the football next time. Joseph McBride Media. I don't know why I read your full name, Joe. Obviously, I know who you are. Weirdly, Juventus or Galatasaray is probably the best draw. He's saying Atletico Bruges are so solid. Bruges is a great side this year, and Simeone will tactically ruin Frank, as Thomas Frank's AI son was just saying. Galatasaray, tough away, but winnable. And then in terms of the Frank situation, he's saying we'll leave at the end of the season. He's not going anywhere, but who do you bring in? And this is the question, isn't it? Unless you're on the verge of relegation and need an emergency, better to play ahead and deal with it. I mean, the thing is, Joe, like the performances are arguably getting, they started to get a little bit better and they've gone back to being pretty poor again. I mean, we do look like a completely different side in the Champions League, which we've touched on as well. But I think if they got rid of him, which I don't think is going to happen, I think, Frank, you're probably suggesting that they go with Heitinger till the end of the season, that interim manager bounce. But I think they need to bring in someone externally if they sack him, and I think that they're waiting for Pochettino. I'm so certain they're doing that. Like, that's what I think.
On that note, sorry, very quickly, have you seen the Pochettino thing this afternoon?
Nope.
That he got invited on the High Performance podcast, which is Jake Humphrey. Jake Humphrey, that one.
Oh, Jake. At least I know my podcast.
Who I had a lovely conversation with him on Twitter in the summer.
Didn't he block you?
I tweeted out when Frank signed, he did an interview on there. And I said, if you can put up with, and I didn't tag him or anything. I said, if you can put up with 40 minutes of Jake Humphrey, this is really worth a watch in order to like learn Frank a bit. And he replied at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. I hadn't tagged him. So he obviously just searched up his own name saying, oh, why am I so hard to deal with? And then I just went back at him and he never came back. But on the note, he went on that podcast today, Pochettino. It's coming out the next week, I think, him and Jesus Perez. And he said that he thinks that Spurs will win the Champions League.
You think Spurs will win the Champions League this season?
Yeah, he's begging to come back, isn't he?
That's mental. That is crazy work. Not sure what to make of that. I feel a bit uncomfortable, actually. Nighttime Kids saying, bring in Poch, Xavi Alonso, Maresca. I mean, I don't think we can attract Xavi Alonso. I don't think we can attract Xavi. Maresca, potentially. But anyway, Langer needs to go. That's a whole different podcast, mate. We'd need another hour for that one. The interview earlier in the week was absolutely embarrassing. I don't even want to talk about it. Like, it's the most pointless 8-minute upload I think I've ever seen, and we've done some pointless 8-minute uploads. Like, I'm not coming from somewhere where I'm completely clean on that, but like it was pointless, and it was so PR driven. It was absolutely pointless, and it just angered everyone in the comments. The comment section had more numbers than the likes. And that's when you've triggered the fan base. More comments than likes on all socials. Absolute disaster class. Joe's saying, I'm very confident Pochettino will leave after the World Cup, where whether he goes to Spurs remains to be seen. His deal ends after the tournament. The USMNT partnership isn't long-term. Yeah, it's definitely just for the World Cup. Colin's in here. Big up, Colin. Hope you're well, mate. He says Poch is the only one to unite us now. It does feel like that. It feels like, he's the chosen one yet again. Anyway, guys, conscious of time, we want to go through the Manchester United preview, and we also want to talk about the Romero situation. Let's spend 5 or 10 minutes talking about the Romero situation, and then we will preview the Manchester United game. We've got a few facts and figures to bring you. So let's start things off. Let's talk about it. Oh, that wasn't very good. Every time Thomas Frank was asked if Romero had been fined or punished, he would only say, I can confirm that we have dealt with everything internally. Obviously, completely been told to say this. Henry, at the end of the day, what Cristian Romero did on social media the other day, for me, isn't, that deep. Obviously, probably shouldn't have done it on social media. But at the end of the day, Conte did what he did, and, he lost his job after it, with the Southampton rant, if you remember that one. What do you make of all this Cristian Romero situation, mate? Like, it's obviously blown out of proportion a little bit. I feel like, people read into words just to create stories sometimes, journalists and media outlets. What do you make of the whole situation, mate? And do you think that Romero will be here in the summer?
For me, on the post, I think what people are reading into it is pretty fair. He deliberately waited until 7 minutes past 7 on the transfer deadline day to post his post-match thoughts on the Spurs game, which was the whole day before. And there's a reason he said that, and there's a reason he left that word in there, because it definitely was a dig. regarding the actual scenario, I think it's very difficult because, as you said earlier, there's three parties here. There's Romero, who has the fans. There's Frank, who's kind of sat in the middle, and then there's the board. The board, if they sanction, fine Romero, whatever they want to do, it's not going to go well because the fans are on Romero's side. You won't find a Spurs fan who doesn't believe or agree with what Romero said. And then Frank's just kind of sat in the middle trying to please the board because he's a yes man. But he also doesn't want to upset his captain because his captain's got more power in the club than Frank does himself. So it's a really weird situation. But I mean, I think we all knew it was going to boil down like this, and no one was actually going to pull the trigger on suspending Romero or fining him or anything. So he can pretty much just say what he wants until he moves on in the summer. I hope he doesn't move on in the summer, and I hope this situation can be resolved. But I'm starting to think that we're at a point of no return.
Yeah, really well summarized, mate. For sure. And I think your point at the start around the timing of the post is really, really important here. To just to bring this post up, it was posted 7 minutes past 7 on the deadline day, just in case we did get anything over the line. Maybe Cristian Romero was watching our deadline day stream just to check if anything did go through. But obviously, yeah, as you can see, the part that's really compelling and interesting is unbelievable but true and disgraceful. On the part where it says, I wanted to be available to help them, even though I wasn't feeling well. Obviously, when he came off against Manchester City at half-time, especially since we only had 11 players available. Unbelievable, but true and disgraceful. Little couple spaces there. I feel like the disgraceful thing was probably put in a bit more anger. We'll keep showing up and taking responsibility to turn this around, working hard and staying together. All that's left to say is thank you for being there and always supporting us, the fans. And like you said, Frank, this was really to show unity with the fan base and, against the board, and he's on side with us rather than, the board kind of thing. Obviously, you can see we've commented saying that's my captain. Tell them how it is. But, I mean, what do you make of this, Frank? Obviously, Henry's given his thoughts. What do you make of the whole situation before we sort of move on to talk about a couple more pieces, one of which is about, of course, what's his name? Fabio Paratici and his parting thoughts as well.
I think ultimately Romero's doing it to probably dig his way out in the summer. I think he knows that he's probably going to go. And so I think it's a very easy way to do it because you're already loved anyway. And so I think it's a very easy way to do it. Yeah, I mean, as John said there in the comment, that it's fans will back him. You go against the board. You leave a hero. It's very easy to get out of this now for Romero, and I think he knows that. One thing I will argue, and I heard and I read, which was quite interesting actually, was in regards to the post itself. Was it might be, and I'm not in any way. It's obviously not because it's Romero and he's having a go. It could be a mix-up in translation. Hence why they haven't made a big deal of it. Hence why he's not deleted it like the other posts. Disgracia in Spanish and Italian translates to unfortunate, which wouldn't be a targeted attack if he said that unbelievable but true and unfortunate. Now, it comes out in English as disgraceful, so instantly it's a targeted attack. Now, I suspect it obviously was. I'm not suggesting for a minute that it wasn't, but I think that probably needs to be contemplated.
But he's done a face. But he's done a face plant emoji as well.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's more likely than not an attack of the board. And as I say, it's the fourth time in the last 14 months, I think it is now, that we've seen this happen with him. So he doesn't like them. That's fine. He's made that very clear. Nobody really does. And he knows that he's going to get out of this in the summer because they'll probably sell him because they don't want to keep getting attacked. They don't want to keep getting called out. So they'll sell him. He'll get what he wants and he'll leave a hero. And so I hope now that for the next 4 months until he leaves, or 5 months until he leaves, that he keeps doing it because it's very entertaining. And I think it's probably what the push to get new owners and get these guys out is actually maybe needs, is to have someone. And the idea of, I was listening to TalkSport yesterday, and Jason Cundy, who's an absolute prat, was, to put it nicely, was saying yesterday that this is ridiculous. He should be sanctioned, and maybe logically he should be, but ultimately, we're in such a poor position as a club right now that I have absolutely no problem whatsoever with him standing up and having a chat. Whatever his intentions are at the end of the season, or whatever the motives are behind speaking, I have absolutely no problem with him doing it, and I hope he does it more.
There you go. Guys, let us know if you agree with Henry and Frank's opinion on that. I'm going to catch up with chat very quickly, but before I do so, and before we go into the Manchester United preview for sort of 5-10 minutes, please, there's a good number of you now that have joined. Please do hit the like button. It does help us out massively, and it is appreciated if every one of you watching can do that, whether that's watching live now or watching on repeat. If you could also turn on the notification bell as well, so you never miss us going live or a new content piece for you on our channel. And please do, of course, subscribe if you are new to Spurs Related. That would be greatly appreciated as we try and bring you as much content as possible. Jack saying, Frank, I love the moustache and goatee, mate. Interesting one.
Such a prat.
The prat's the word at the moment. Nighttime Kid saying, agree with Frank, not our manager, but Frank on the panel. Jack saying, I hate Frank, the manager. He had to clear that up with the brackets there. John Stokes saying, Potch out, never date an ex. Not happy with that one. Nighttime Kid bringing Carrick. He used to play for us. I mean, I don't think he's going anywhere at the moment, that's for sure. If we're letting Romero go, the board need to go Frank too, ENIC, everyone, and make sure we get 300 million for Romero. I don't think we'll get 100 for him, to be honest with you. But it's an interesting one. And as John Stokes was saying, Romero wants to leave. So to make it easier for himself, he's speaking out, knowing the fans will back him and slate the board. Absolute genius. Let's move on to talking about the Manchester United game, guys. Big game tomorrow, 12:30. Sorry. I haven't got my agenda right today. I wanted to cover a couple more things about this, Romero thing. He says, Cutty is a very passionate person and leaves everything on the pitch. He wants to win every time, and there can be an outburst. There is a way of doing things. He has been very good at doing things. I wouldn't have done it. So that for me highlights that obviously Thomas Frank thinks that was a problem, and that was maybe not the best way of going about it, which kind of contradicts, I know what you're saying, Frank, about the lost in translation piece. The club have clearly looked into it and thought it wasn't a great look. But anyway, I think that's enough on that. And then this Paratici thing about joining Fiorentina. Fiorentina have a serious set of owners and a very serious set of owners who are of great value. Is that not digging out the club, Henry? I mean, he's basically saying Fiorentina are more ambitious than Tottenham Hotspur in that statement, no?
Yeah, of course he is. I mean, it was typical. Paratici, let's keep him around until the end of January so that we can get through January, get some business done, and then he can move on to Fiorentina. And then we didn't get any more business done. So I'm so glad that he stayed for the entire of January. And then he's gone and said exactly what every Spurs fan knows anyway. So it's good to know that what's coming from inside the club is just as of the same opinion as all the people outside the club as well.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. And Frank, what do you make of this as well, mate? Seems like a bit of a dig in the ribs to the owners, no?
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, again, I'm not siding with the ownership at all here, but I think the only thing you could maybe suggest is that it's quite easy for these guys who are leaving now to make themselves look better by slagging off the ownership. They obviously deserve it because they are very poor at their job. So I'm not suggesting, but it's an easy way to boost your own reputation or whatever once you get out of what has been what is such a mess at the top of that club right now. If you're leaving, you don't want to be seen to be like one of the big reasons it is such a mess. So it's an easy way to, but I would suggest that this is probably the case. I mean, the rumors were that he wanted Frank gone in December, and he was one of the few that wanted that. And so I imagine that he's probably pretty correct in what he's saying.
Absolutely. Guys, let us know what you think on the Fabio Paratici departure as well, and anything related to the Cristian Romero segment. If you're writing comments offline, I reply to absolutely every single one, so please do feel free to comment. I've also just put a poll in the live chat for the game, which we're moving on to talk about now, which is Man United versus Spurs. I put, predictions for the game: Man United win, draw, or Spurs win. Whack your score predictions in the chat now as well, but we've got a couple of pieces to bring you about the game, which include the potential Manchester United 11, according to, is this Foot Mob?
Yep.
So they reckon that Lamans will be in goal, Dalot right back, Shaw left back, Maguire and Martinez as a centre-back partnership with Casemiro and Mainu, who's back in the team, of course, having been pretty much sidelined by Ruben Amorim. And then Ahmad and Cunha on the wings, with Fernandes almost playing the 10, with Mbeumo, who has been pretty decent up top. Start with you on this one, Henry. the main threats for you, mate? If that is the lineup, and I guess matching that up with the potential Tottenham 11, which you can see here, potentially another 5 at the back. Where do you think the key matchups are, mate? And where do you think we're going to have the most joy or the most problems?
Looking at the United side, I think the most issues that are going to get caused are by Bruno and Mbeumo. I think they're the 2 key players in that side. They're going to be the ones to unlock us if that is going to happen. And I mean, you can look at Cunha and Ahmad as potential issues. I mean, Cunha's a great player, but if we hope that Spence is available, it is touch and go. Then Spence and Paulinho are a really, really robust pairing to kind of deal with that threat. I'm just honestly worried about who's going to be the person to pick up Bruno, because if Mbeumo is going to be floating along the front line like he normally does, and we play 3 centre halves, it's not going to be man for man like we did against City. And even with the man for man, it did not work. I don't know who set us up to put Romero against Haaland, drag us in against Cherki, and Semenyo against Paulinho 1-for-1. It was a baffling scenario for me, but I think with our system, it could work really well with Van der Ven back in. We have the keys to unlock United, definitely, and I don't know if you've seen it, but we have the second most created chances in the Premier League in 2026. So I know results have not gone our way, but there is indications that things could be sort of swaying our way and things could be starting to work a little bit better. I mean, I'm not saying I'm franking, because I'm definitely not. But as I said earlier, he's going to get this month. So I don't see the point in sitting and debating Thomas Frank's tenure. So we might as well just get behind him for the month and really see what we can do, because United haven't beat us since 2022. They lost to us in European final when every single person, every pundit said there is no way that Spurs can win this final with United's European pedigree. This is a game that I don't think you can go in and go, oh, it's another walk in the park. I know United are playing well, but we can go into this game with some confidence. I think it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, no, I hope it's a good game. Listen, mate, I don't like the kickoff time for sure. I mean, I know that's not absolutely everything about the game, but 12:30 is just, for me, I hate them. Number one, because if we lose, it ruins my entire week and weekend. And number two, I just think they can be a bit random. But yeah, we're obviously currently sitting in 14th. And Manchester United, I believe, are about 5th, aren't they, or 4th or 5th? So, very much dominant in terms of the table position. But we know that we're 9 points off the relegation zone and only Frank, maybe 8 points off of Europe. So it's not a win tomorrow is actually huge. Man United are sitting on 41 points, but top 7 is on 36 in Brentford. So, a win tomorrow sends us, potentially as high as the dizzy heights of 13th. Just saying that, which just sounds stupid, but you know what I mean. 7 points to the European places isn't a great deal, really, is it, Frank?
No, it's not. And so ultimately, there's a chance to make up some ground. Given that 2 of the next 3 games are at home as well. I know it's Arsenal and Newcastle, but I know we've been poor at home as well, but maybe a chance to pick up some form and get some points in the bag, because we aren't that far off. And ultimately, if they end up finishing 7th and we get the Conference League, something that I would be really up for next year as well, may I add, it would leave us in what has been an awful season in decent stead for next year, hopefully with a new manager. So yeah, it'll be good if we can sort of push towards that.
Absolutely. Henry kind of teed us up nicely to talk about the head-to-heads. As you said, we don't even think we can go as far back as 2020, 2022. Yeah, we can. So there we go. Man United's last win. Good work there, Frank. Man United's last win, 2-0 against Tottenham in 2022. I can't say I massively remember it. But obviously we've had a lot of joy over Man United in recent years, and Man City. We beat Man United 3-0 away in 2018. We then lost to them in 2019. But as you remember, the great game in COVID, 6-1, where Lamela got who was it sent off? He got someone sent off. Martial, that was it. And then we just battered them. Kane, Son, and I think everyone else ran riot. Bale as well, I believe. And then we lost them 3-2 in 2022 and 2-0. But since then, we've got a draw against them in 2024. a win against them in 2024, away 3-0, and then a draw in 2024, a win in 2024, a 4-3 thriller. That was the EFL Cup. Remember that very well. Fraser Forster had an absolute nightmare. We should have never conceded 3 goals in that game. A 1-0 in February 2025, which wasn't as good as the 1-0 in 21st of May 2025. We all know the Europa League final. And then a 2-2 draw earlier this season at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So as you said, Henry, a very good record against Manchester United. Do you think, just a quick question for the chat and everyone else and the panel, do you think that the head-to-head has any play in this? Like, Man United are clearly the more informed team in terms of the Premier League, but we've kind of got a bit of a thing over them in terms of recent form. What do you reckon, Frank?
I mean, ultimately, we were very good against them last year. That from open play, they only actually scored 2, and they were the 2 Fraser Forster goals. We were good all in all against them last year, but both of us had different managers, so it's hard to. I think the whole thing is they've got a manager now that they are playing well. They've had 3 big wins in the trot. It's another one that they will think they can win. They'll be expecting to probably win, and we're in a pretty negative position. So, I mean, as much as I think previous form is positive, and sometimes it does play a part, as you see with like Man City, whenever we play them or whatever. I'm quite concerned that tomorrow could be pretty damning. So concerned that I've captained Mateus Cunha in my fantasy team.
Oh goodness. Anyway, let's get the score predictions from Frank and Henry, and then get your score predictions, guys. I can see that Ronnie's gone early. He's gone Man United 2, Tottenham 3. Absolutely love that positive score prediction. John Stokes not so positive. He said, "Let's be frank." I think that's a pun. Man United 4, Spurs 1. Yes, I'm a realist, but hope I'm wrong. James DX, hope you're good, mate. He says, "I like to see us play with a 4-3-3 with Palhinha, Sarr, and Gallagher man to man in midfield. It's very important to get the best of, tackle that Mainu, Bruno Fernandes, and Casemiro midfield." Koi72, Paul Brown, hope you're well, mate. He says, "Evening, gents." Darren Fearon's in here. He says, "We have good players. It depends how Frank sets us up. We prove we can be dangerous. If you look at our PSG and Man City performances, absolutely could be an interesting one, especially if we're soaking up pressure, maybe playing on the counter-attack." Jack saying, "We will win," in brackets, "we are cooked." And Adam Paul is saying, "I can see Gallagher having a big game tomorrow, and I have no faith in Frank at all, but I can actually see us getting a kind of result tomorrow. United are overrated. Only their attack is improving." He's going to go with another 2-2. And bet on your own team, Frank. Give your head a wobble. Here we go. Stefan Everton has gone for a 2-1 Man United win. Absolutely hating that from you, Stefan. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of realistic comments and predictions. Guys, get your prediction in if you want it read out. Henry, I'm going to go start with you. What is your score prediction, please, mate? And your score predictions. And also at the end, guys, we're not ending the stream just yet, but I'm going to give Henry a chance to plug his TikTok as well. So score prediction, Henry, scorers, and your channel, mate. What's going on?
You have to hear me out here first. You have to hear me out. Spurs under Thomas Frank. First of all, I think I know results haven't been improving, but I do think there's small signs of mild improvement creativity-wise and in possession. But I think United, especially under Carrick, are going to be a team that they're going to want to get on the ball. They're going to take a lot of possession at Old Trafford, and that's kind of playing into our style. Our best performances this season under Thomas Frank, they're few and far between. But PSG, City, there have been games where we've soaked up pressure and got really at them when they've got their pants down. So this is a game I think we can go and get something out of. And I also think that previous history does play a lot in this fixture. This is a side that they lost to us in May in the final. There's United fans that flew to France, flew to the south of Spain, got coaches for 20 hours, 30 hours, and then went home crying because of what we did to them.
That could have been us, mate. That could have been us.
It could have been, but it wasn't, and that's the key part.
Yeah.
This is the same squad, bar a few players. I'm not saying they haven't improved. They've got some good players in the door. Cunha and Buemo Lamons have all made big differences to their side, but a lot of them, that team will remember that feeling when they lost to us. A lot of that team won't remember the feeling of United's previous success and history. So there's going to be a mental game. So I'm going 3-1 Spurs.
Wow.
Mark my words.
Okay.
one of Romero or Van de Ven scoring. I don't really care which one. Solanke is going to be fit. Don't worry. I think Solanke might play.
Okay.
From what I've seen, it was just a rolled ankle. He's not going to be unfit.
Yeah, but a rolled ankle at this club means, mate, you could be out for a year.
That is true, especially with it being the same ankle that he spent 6 months out with a surgery.
There you go. Absolutely. And then, guys, please go and check out Henry's TikTok as well. We'll get the other score predictions in a minute. But yeah, lots of great stuff going on White Hart Henry on TikTok. I think you've just hit 2,000 followers, if I'm correct in saying, Henry.
Have indeed, mate.
Great stuff. So, guys, please go and click on that link. I've just spammed it in the live chat. So if you're a user of TikTok, please click the link, go and follow Henry. And also, or if you want, just go on TikTok and type in White Hart Henry. But great stuff going on over there. More Spurs content. Paul Brown saying positivity overload 3-2 to us. I'm going to go to Thomas Frank's AI son, but also we've got Ali's 2-2 draw in here as well. And Jack, Henry, lay off the beers, mate. More chance I get subbed on and bag a brace than us winning 3-1. So that's chat's thought on that. Some of the chat's thought on that. Darren Fearon saying I'm going for us to score a shock late winner. Absolutely love it from you, Darren. Love the positivity. Frank Thomas, you're going to give us some positivity as well now. I know you're going to give us a nice prediction. So over to you, mate.
I'm really sorry. I think I'll start with my heart, because that's what everyone wants to hear. I think we could nick it, actually. And so I'll go 2-1 Tottenham. To be positive and to be a Spurs fan, I'll go 2-1 Tottenham. And I think Solanke will get the winner. Honestly, I think tomorrow could be 2 or 3-0 Man United. I think it will be one of those games that, like when they played City a couple of weeks ago, they could have scored about 6. And I think it'll be that same sort of thing. It's an early kickoff, but it like that game was. They had like 4 disallowed or 3 disallowed. They're going to have chances tomorrow, United. Plenty more than I think we will. And I think ultimately that's going to be a problem. Having said that, I do think if anyone's going to have a really good game tomorrow for us, I think Xavi Simons could be quite important. I think he's slowly starting to hit that form that I think he can hit, and I think tomorrow could be a good game for him. I think the bit that worries me is from what we had last year when we beat them so many times. We've lost the manager, we've lost the goal scorer of that final, we've lost the captain, and so a large part of that team that was so good against them last year have sort of fallen apart, and so I'm a little bit concerned, I have to be honest. But I'll go 2-1 Tottenham because I'm a Spurs fan and I love us very much.
I mean, I appreciate it, Frank, but you've also gone for 2 different predictions there. So like you've kind of covered all bases. It's like putting on a bet on a win, draw, and a loss, and just going, "Yeah, I called it." Like you didn't call it, Frank. I need a more solid prediction.
Okay, I'll go 3-0 Man United then.
I wish I never even bothered saying that. I don't know what's the point anymore. Ryan, the Man United fan, one of my mates, saying only 5 players will start for United tomorrow. Who started in the Europa League final. United 2-1 and Buemo and Cunha goals. I've got to be honest, lads. So you've gone 3-0 Man United technically, Frank. Henry, you've gone for a 3-1 Spurs win, which I much prefer. I think. And again, I know I'm just contradicting myself even more here, but I think it'd go 2-1 either way. And I know I've just completely contradicted myself, but I'm going to give you one prediction. But that's how I see it. I think it will be tighter than people think. I don't think we'll get smashed. I don't think we'll smash them. I could be completely wrong, of course, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 Spurs win. I reckon. I think you're right, Frank. I think Xavi Simons could have a good game. I think he's progressively getting better every single week, and I believe that. If Solanke plays, he could play a big part as well. And Gallagher's those legs we need in midfield because we've really struggled against the top teams. So I'm going for 2-1 Spurs. Henry, are you going to say something?
Yeah, can I just add?
Yeah.
It stinks of a draw. It absolutely stinks of a 2-2. It does.
Yeah, we could all be wrong, couldn't we, mate? I knew you were dying to say something there. I saw you take yourself off mute. Darren Fearon saying, why are we acting like Man United is a world-class team? They're not even as good as Man City. And Darren, mate, is the answer. We are 14th. We have no say in who's world-class and who's not, because we certainly aren't. But then again, we're in the last 16 of the Champions League, guys. So let's keep the positivity going. I'm much more positive now. I've had 50 minutes talking about Tottenham. Somehow, this podcast is always a bit of a cleanse for the brain. But guys, if you have enjoyed our little roundup on Romero, on the game tomorrow, and all things everything messy to do with this club, please do hit the like button. It is most appreciated. All the comments today, really appreciate you all turning out on a Friday night. Please turn on the notification bell if you are new to Spurs Related to never miss a live stream or a video where we upload. And of course, as well, subscribe to the channel as well. One thing I wanted to say is if you guys go for like walks or runs or whatever and you want to listen to podcasts, we do the audio version over on Spotify and Apple Pods. So it's worth mentioning that we do have the audio versions as well. So if you can go and follow us and give us a 5-star rating if you enjoy it, that would be greatly appreciated. But massive thanks to Frank and Henry. Go and check out Henry's TikTok as well. Guys, we'll be back for more content after the Man United game, where we'll be, of course, reviewing what happens in this carnage club that continues to bring us a lot of excitement and a lot of depression. But as you can imagine, we're all for it. As always, guys, remember, like, subscribe, and comment. And remember, come on, you Spurs. Get the win tomorrow.